We are all here, so there's no need to take attendance. Would you like to start with the approval of minutes? Did anyone have a chance to go over that? I hope you all did.
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
Would someone like to make a motion to accept the minutes? Okay. And a second? Second from Jeff Papa. Motion from Emily. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Same sign. Passes 5-0. And now we will hear the Fire Department monthly report from Chief Van Gorder.
Nothing to report this time. The monthly report is included in your packet. Happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Okay, did anyone have any questions?
When is the EMS competition in Dubai?
It has just recently been rescheduled. I'll let Deputy Chief of Operations Aaron Givens give you a brief update.
It's a great question. We found out it was one of those, it was postponed, and then we found out very rapidly. And when I say very rapidly, we're like, hey, we want you to come, and now here's your plane tickets and everything. So they'll be leaving November 23rd, so next week. It's actually to occur over Thanksgiving. Then they'll return on the 28th, so over the weekend of Thanksgiving. So I'm not sure, because the information has been very jumbled with this postponement, if it's the competition is on Thanksgiving Day or if it's on the day before or day after. But I know it's in that window. They're set to take off on the 23rd.
Awesome. Well, best of luck to them.
Yeah.
And you know what? If they got to miss Thanksgiving, I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So.
Yes, good luck to them, for sure. All right, so we have no old business, and our new business starts with a staffing update.
Yeah, I'll have Deputy Chief Gibbons come forward and give you our monthly update of our yellow sheet. But before we get into that, just to let you know, as part of the budget approval process from the council, we were approved to hire 3 new firefighters for calendar year 26. Then as a reminder for this board, we did have 2 other vacancies. We've had a retirement, and then we just had a disability hearing where we've separated employment from a firefighter because of physical disability from the job. So that would give us 5 openings. Our merit board has met and extended job offers off of our most recently approved hiring list. So those 5 candidates are finishing up their medical, psychological testing, and we would hope to have that before the end of the month and have them queued up to start a recruit class in January, where we'll be partnering with the Pike Township Fire Department with our 5 new hires, their new hires, and I think there'll be 2 or 3 other departments join us. But you've heard me talk about this again as well. We've got the new hires approved. It takes time to get them trained and prepped, and that we will not see those individuals graduate that academy until July of next year. So we won't see the staffing help until July of next year. And unfortunately, I think Chief Gibbons will give you a little bit of an update today about some of our staffing challenges, and we've had additional firefighters get injured, some on duty, some off duty, that have causing us some continued challenges with our vacancies. But I'll turn it over to Chief Gibbons.
All right, I'm back. I believe you guys are all pretty familiar with these sheets. Just a reminder on kind of the breakdown of them. So this is really a 21-day look starting yesterday, so November 16th, through the next 21 days. As we previously noted, anytime you see the yellow, that is where we are operating below our industry standard, or 4 on a suppression piece of apparatus, or 2 on a transporting ambulance. And then the red is where you will see where we've dropped below, and we're going to either have to mandatory somebody to work those spots or potentially fill that with voluntary overtime. So as Chief just mentioned, we have 3 people that are injured, a couple from the line of duty, and then 1 that is not. But we will not see the 3 of them all return until probably April or May at the earliest of next year, as all 3 of them have required surgeries. So one of them's a shorter recovery, but the other 2 are going to be about a 4 to 6 month window. So as you see, for this 21-day cycle, there seems to be kind of a theme on kind of a repeating pattern, and that would be the 3 individuals that are injured are actually all from one shift. So that's one of those challenging situations where we never want anybody to be injured, but obviously it hurts even more when they're all from that same shift. you'll see too, I do want to point out there is some positive here, that if you look to December the 1st, you'll notice that's a day that currently, as long as no one gets injured, that just the way time off, whether it be Kelly Day, whether it be people utilizing their PTO, that we actually we're achieving the staffing we've been trying to achieve. But again, that is not contemplating another injury or somebody taking that day off because of something outside of their control, whether it be sickness or something like that, especially moving in towards December when people start to get illnesses. The other thing that I know that we've discussed that I wanted to make sure I mentioned is obviously some of these spots are filled by voluntary overtime, so we're not mandatoring or forcing somebody to work, but just want to always be forthright with you guys and open is the last 21 days, whenever I contemplated it, we did have one situation that we had to force somebody to work or mandatory them, but then the previous 21 days before that, we had 4 people that had to mandatory work overtime. So if you look in the last 42 days, in those last 2 21-day cycles, it's been 5 people that have been mandatory to work. So some of that from injury, some of that just from the way that our current staffing is. But always want to be transparent with that information with you guys and just let you know that, yes, we are making strides. And I think the other thing to note is here on December 5th, we will graduate the 2 recruits that are in the Northside Fire Academy. They'll have a little bit of time of transitioning from academy to shift life. Then there's going to be training for them getting cleared to operate our ambulances and getting kind of familiarized with being on shift. But those 2 people, as you guys can tell, we can't even put one person on each shift. They will help some, but as you guys know, like Chief said, until the middle of the year when we at least see the 5 additional, we'll start to hopefully see some of the red go away and it just be more yellow. Obviously, red is not good, especially as we're looking to know that those could turn into mandatory spots if no one picks up overtime.
Are we able to problem solve with borrowing from neighboring communities, paying, day shift laborers, or, like some sort of, I don't know how
Unfortunately,
nurses
that's
travel
usually
or-
not a common thing in the fire service. The one thing that we could contemplate would be like reaching out to neighboring departments and try to see if people want to work part-time.
Yeah.
But then obviously we would have to have the part-time budget to support that as well.
Would some of the part-time budget be able to come from, like, excuse me, workers' comp or some sort of disability pay where we are covering
I'll let
something
Chief
for the
step in and
people that
answer
we
that.
normally pay, or?
Yeah, unfortunately not, because again, these injuries, as he mentioned, 2 of the 3 of them are work-related injuries, so we're having to pay the salaries and the wages, and there's no way to have those funds available. The ones that are not work-related are taking short-term or long-term disability to be able to do that, so the funds are not there. The other challenging part that has held us up with part-time employment is we still have to provide them with protective gear, so we have to buy these part-time employees fire gear. We're responsible as the employer, because we are the employer, even though they may work someplace else, we have to provide the medical testing, the clearance, they have to go through all of our training and stuff. So it's not a quick fix to go find another individual to be able to slide them in, and then having them work on our apparatus is a little bit of a liability. So we've explored that. We've had some discussions with our local union, 5195, and said, if we see kind of as an emergency net, if we see 4 or 5 more individuals come, we're going to have to do something like that. But our hope is that we see these 2 individuals graduate the academy in the next 30 days. Probably within 30 to 45 days after that, 1 of the 3 will come back. We'll sustain a little bit where we are. And then in July, we'll see the improvement. So not until we would see a significant change in the number of people going further down would we want to pull that trigger. We'd have to come back and look for an additional appropriation from the council to be able to fund that. And
Okay,
I'd say
Mike.
our union labor group is not necessarily supportive of the part-time efforts. They've got some concerns about that and would rather see us, and I think we all would like to see us, hire full-time staff to be able to fill the vacancies that we have. As you know, we hired 3. That still leaves us 6 firefighters short in our daily staffing needs, and we know we're working on a long-term plan to address those in calendar year 27, 28, or 29.
The last brainstorm part of it would be the volunteer firemen that are out in Perry, if there's any sort of overlap with that.
Unfortunately not, and as we've talked, I believe at this board before, Perry Township volunteer fire departments kind of come to us and said that they're looking to dissolve over the next year and a half, and a lot of that comes down to the requirements for training. And they currently, their employees don't match the same level of training that our firefighters do.
So overall, though, like, you know, we fought tooth and nail to get 3 additional firefighters next year, and then, you know, are we going to be? Do you foresee us being stuck in the same spot when we even add these 5 next year? You know, in this boat. I mean, I'm trying to. I know we want to continuously keep making chunks at the deficit, but this board fought again. And not to fight anyone technically, but you know, we
Prioritized
we went to bat for, we advocated hard to getting more firefighters. Are we gonna have to continue to, it sounds like we're gonna have to keep doing this then.
Yeah,
until we-
and that's where, you know, the fire department administration has been trying to be very vocal. We appreciate this board being reconstituted this year to allowing this to be more of a public discussion and why the staffing crisis has been around for a while. You know, we had seen, I think you guys remember versions of this monthly report from Chief Gibbons that have been primarily yellow. And again, we've got things in place. We just haven't got there yet to realize the benefits of those individuals. To answer your question directly, you're going to help get rid of the red, but you're not going to address the yellow, which are daily shortages, which affect effective operations and safe operations of our firefighters until we see those next 6. So that's going to be a continuation over the next 2 or 3 years to get there.
When we look forward into next year and we have the 3 that we've approved, do you guys have any concerns that the pipeline isn't filling and we may have a hard time filling the 3 that have been authorized? Or are there people that are on the horizon that are prospects for us?
We were very successful thanks to our recruitment team who went out and did the hiring process. So we had 350 candidates that went through the process. Our merit commission sat down and met, and we have a hiring list approved. So we have a list of candidates to pull. We just don't have the dollars to be able to fund the positions. So we'll be ready to go, but we got to keep in mind, and that was the effort today, was remind this board and primarily the public that just because we hire somebody or approve the hiring, that takes time for those things to achieve and happen. You know, one of the benefits we have is that one of the 5 individuals who received a conditional offer of employment, if it completes and they pass all their testing, it's a lateral transfer. And this individual may be able to hit the ground instead of in July, may be able to hit the ground with some preliminary training maybe in February. So that can be a little bit helpful so that we'd only have 4 individuals going through the full-blown academy. But that is our only lateral candidate that made it through the certification process for hiring.
Just out of curiosity, I mean, these are people, right? And so we have conditional offers out there. They probably want to get a job as quickly as they can. Is there a risk of losing them because of timing? And then can we backfill? You said there was a lot of candidates. I was just curious.
Great question, Counselor. And we see this quite honestly is that it is a very competitive process. I would say out of all the individuals on our hiring list, probably 98% of them are on somebody else's hiring list.
Yep.
So what we have done is we have actually extended 5 conditional job offers, which are valid and open spots. We've also extended 3 additional conditionals where we tell the individuals that you're waiting for an opening. So we're going to go ahead and pay for your medical, pay for your psychological, get everything queued up so we can speed that time. So if one of the 5 don't accept, don't pass, or aren't ready to go, we can slide them right in. Now the challenge is we've got a start date of January 5th. So if we don't know that until January, then we'll miss that opportunity. Now we got to find the next recruit class, and every day goes by that we don't get in a recruit class, it just keeps bumping it. So if they don't start till February or March, then it's 6 months after that. But we've got them queued up, ready to go. The exposure that we have, but we work with HR and administration, is it really it's just a cost, but it's minimal. It's probably less than $3,500 for all that testing to go on. But we've got these individuals queued, ready to go. The good news for these candidates is they're not giving up anything, so they're ready to go for us, but they could accept a job somewhere else and leave tomorrow and go there. We just ask that they communicate with us so that we always have a group queued, if you would, and ready to go to fill those spots.
Is there anything, and Joe, you're here, I guess you could speak to this too, but can we backdate things such that they're live on January 5th? Like, are we able to start the process, like hire now, start the process, or they go on payroll immediately once they start their training? I guess that's probably the issue.
Yeah, they have to go on payroll, and then we have to have approved positions for them to be able to fill. So we've done everything we can, and our merit commission has been informed of this, and they've understood that it's really a conditional job offer, and then a conditional offer time 2, meaning that there's a vacancy. And then we have very open, honest conversations with the employees, letting them know that, you're kind of going to be in a waiting effort. And again, the good news would be all 5 show up, they take their course, they graduate in July, they come to shift, and we don't have any more vacancies. And we're just out $3,500 per employee. That would be good for us, not good for them.
Right.
All of that testing information is valid for 12 months, so that at least over the next 12 months, if we have any vacancy, we'll be able to grab that individual and send them to perf, get them approved, and then put them right in the next recruit class. So we've tried to take every opportunity we can to have people queued up, ready to go, so that we don't have, and that's some of the challenges we've seen historically, is that we found out late, oh, well, this person dropped out or took a different job or didn't show, and now we're delayed and we've missed that opportunity. So we're trying to make sure we have individuals queued, ready to go to fill a void.
Are the recruits paid in full during training?
At a probationary rate, yes.
That's what I was getting
Yes.
at. Okay, curious, okay.
I guess I'm still a little stuck on why there isn't some sort of workers' comp coverage that kicks in when someone is hurt on the job. Is that, but he said we still pay full salary. So wouldn't there be?
We're paying their medical claims.
Okay. From the self-funding of our insurance?
No, because it's a workers' comp injury. Line of duty injury would be covered by workers' comp.
I do want to ask a quick question. Laterals versus new hires, I mean, is that just, obviously, the new hires take a lot longer to get, are laterals a tougher option?
No, at the end of the day, it'd be the premium candidate that we would like to see. Again, out of the 350 that applied, we certified a list, and there were only 1 lateral that was on that list, and we took that lateral because it was a premium employee that could benefit the department in a much quicker period of time. And they also happened to be the only paramedic in the entire list.
Wow.
Wow.
So kind of a double win there.
That's all I have on staffing.
Would you like to move on to the emergency warning signs or sirens?
Yes, Madam President, I'll ask Deputy Chief Administration Jason Potts to come forward. You may or may not be aware, but the town of Zionsville has tornado sirens in the community, and that falls to the fire department to be able to manage, and he'll give you a brief update on how those are installed, managed, and maintained.
Good morning. Stormwater conversations and tornado sirens. It's a good
Uh-huh.
day.
Good stuff.
For those of you that don't know, like the chief said, the tornado sirens, outdoor warning sirens, are a responsibility of the fire department to maintain. It's really important for me why I'm coming to you today about this is there has been some issues that we've had during the testing periods that go on every month on Fridays. You'll notice at noon that sirens go off. The town of Zionsville actually runs 2 separate systems. We have a legacy siren that are the sirens that were brought in the 60s all the way to the early 2000s. Those run strictly off of a radio system. And then during the development and planning sessions, as new development comes in, part of the fee structure is if there's not outdoor warning sirens in the area that's being developed, we gather fees to start putting sirens in that area. We have about 8 different new sirens in place. And what we have done with this modernization of these sirens is we added some redundancies. Not only are they able to be alerted off of radio, but we can set them off from Town Hall. They also are set off by the National Weather Service Polygon. So as soon as a warning is set, the sirens will activate themselves. So they don't require that interaction from the 911 center. The reason I'm coming in and talk about it is we are aware that the new sirens that we've had put in are not working correctly with the radio trigger from the 911 center. Basically, there's been a couple things that happened. We went from a copper line to a fiber line. We're not sure where that disconnect has occurred yet. I actually have a technician coming out this week to take a look at the run all the way from the 911 center to our transmitter at Station 91, and then we'll look forward to find out where that disconnect occurred so we can get that initial radio trigger to work on both the legacy and the new sirens. But it's really important just to make sure everyone knows that in the event of an emergency, all of our sirens, barring a mechanical issue with one, will work. There's not a systemic problem with the sirens themselves. So we're just working that out. I've received a couple calls about issues that have gone on. And I want to make sure that this board and the public was aware that in the event of emergency, the sirens will work in totality. So. Welcome. All I got for sirens.
I was like, is there a plan B if this doesn't work? Are we able to trigger them locally?
Sure. So we are able, both the legacy and the new sirens, we are able to transmit off of a radio here at Town Hall and through a mobile radio. And we are able to run the new sirens off of computer, but they are set to run automatically. As soon as that National Weather Service creates a polygon, those new sirens are going off automatically. So we don't have to worry about that trigger. So even if the 911 center catches the notification of an alert, they'll hit the radios, and at the same time, simultaneously, the new sirens will run. It's just running essentially two separate systems.
Thanks.
Is it, two questions. Is it commonplace for the fire department to be the guardians of the tornado systems?
It depends. A lot of, depending on where you're at in Indiana, some of it's the emergency management. As you start going into more municipalities, some of the suburbs, it will be under emergency preparedness, which the fire department kind of covers that all hazards type of thing.
And then second, from a budget standpoint, is it kind of immaterial to the overall fire department budget? Does it burden you guys? Is it?
I would not call it a burden. It's one of the things that we capture during the TAC process. We have a map that we're able to determine whether or not those sirens are covered, and we can start getting some of those costs in.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, several years ago, it was a line item in the budget for the fire department to put sirens in. And go back to your previous question, Counselor. Boone County EMA does a good job, but they have all of Boone County. And one of the things in Zionsville was that we identified very early on that we were a growing community and we did not have appropriate outdoor notification. So we took it upon ourselves and worked with the town council. This was prior to us being reorganized government. Said, hey, we think we need to improve this, and there was a concurrence. So we started working that direction. Jason's point, we adopted an ordinance that said if you're going to develop a farm field into a residential community now, if you don't fall in a coverage zone, you now just bear the responsibility as a developer to not only pay for streets and sidewalks and sewers, you now have to pay for this. So nowadays, we don't have a need for new sirens because it's all developer-based that are coming in. And I would say our coverage area is really good, I would generally say. Now, you could go into northern Union Township or extreme western former Perry Township, and there would be areas there, but the population is very minuscule. But again, when those areas develop, those developers will be responsible to bear the cost of that. The only real cost we have is the maintenance cost of ongoing, like Jay said. Right now, our biggest challenge is that they go off really well when the National Weather Service does it. The monthly test is something that we control locally, and that's where we're seeing a difficulty. We're seeing citizens call and say, hey, that monthly test, my siren above my house or my neighborhood didn't go off. And that's part of the challenge that we've had right now, and that's what Jason's working on with our vendors to fix that so that they all go off during testing correctly.
And the fees are covered in the TAC meeting, so the developer learns about it there? Or is
That's
it part
correct.
of our permitting?
That's correct. Yeah,
TAC
it's
meeting.
part of the plan and
Okay.
review for the town of Zionsville, not only the fire department, but building, economic development. All the departments review and look at that, and that's when we would notify the developer that you're in an unprotected area.
Okay. Thanks.
Great.
Update on future fire stations, unless anyone else had any questions? Okay.
Included in your pack is a print-off. If you may remember, when we approved the fire station feasibility study, we looked at the area of 875 East and 400 South, and we were going to come back to you with a report as we tried to decide whether we would stay on land that the fire department purchased jointly with the Parks Department at that intersection. If you're familiar, that's where the dog park is. And there's the northeast part of that property that's become undeveloped. That's where a fire station is planned to go in the future. Over the years since we bought that, the town of Zionsville has acquired the former rail trail property, garden center there. And DPW is working through a development plan that'll be before the town council to build that DPW campus on that map. Part of our fire station feasibility study indicated that the most optimal location for emergency response is a little bit south of the intersection of 875 East and 400 South. Should be down about where Pearson Tennis Center is. Obviously, we would not buy Pearson Tennis Center to do that because the town already has 2 parcels here. So one of the things that staff is working on was we wanted our consultant to analyze the front portion of the DPW site to see if a fire station could fit. What these renderings indicate, and again, these are just general renderings, is that they could fit very well right there on the DPW site. One of the things we're continuing to work with DPW, and there could also be a significant cost savings to the development because DPW will be coming in hopefully next year in calendar year 2026, and they'll bring in all the infrastructure and utilities, water, sewer, electric, into that area. At the fire station site at 875 and 400, none of those things are there, and that'd be cost borne by us. So we'd hope to be back before you next month to show you a heat map or a response map with the final recommendation, but I would say that staff is leaning very heavily that you would see a recommendation for us next month that says we should update our fire station feasibility plan and we should designate this spot as a future fire station, not locking in any timeline for when this would be built, but make sure that this land would then be reserved for public safety to be able to utilize there. The only item or amenity of note that we asked the development team to include, that odd-shaped wedge there, would be some type of public restroom that could be easily accessed off the trail if that was an amenity that we would like to provide there. So happy to answer any questions, but this was just more information to say that we're continuing to test various different sites along the 875 area. This is also would end up in a no cost because we already own the land at 875 and 400, and we also own the land at Rail Trail Gardens and stuff like that. So there's net neutral decision. It's just where would be the best operational response, and we'll have that final recommendation to you next month or at our next meeting.
And is there, oh, go
I was going
ahead.
to say, this would be the final piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, we'd like to kind of wrap up the fire station feasibility so that we can say that, hey, here's the map and here's where we have them all pinpointed and we're kind of done. You know that we're already moving forward and we've purchased and closed on the land out west in Perry Township. That has been purchased and closed. I'll share with the board, we are scheduled to close next Tuesday on the land on Michigan Road. The money that you guys have additionally appropriated, we will close on that land. Again, this land on, this fire station's 294. On 875, we own both of these, but we would secure and we would own the land in all of those.
So then, because if my memory serves me correctly, Perry's going to be the first project underway.
Correct, and we'll be coming before you. I believe we're tentatively scheduled for the council agenda and at the first December meeting for the DPW site will be coming for you, the fire station out west, and I think there's a wastewater treatment facility project as part of the 2026 capital improvement projects that the mayor has.
291 goes after Perry, right? That's
Correct,
the
that'd be
second.
probably 98, excuse me, my calendar years are getting messed up. It'd be 2028 because it'll take us about a year and a half to do the Perry site. And again, we've got to get DPW built and occupied so that then we could close Station 291 and slide 291's crew into the old DPW building and respond from there. But you are correct. It'd probably be in that 28, 29 calendar year if everything were to work correctly.
And then timing-wise, this, what you're showing me today, when would that fall in?
Then the question would be that we would have 2 stations. We'd have a fire station on Michigan Road and this station, and so that would be 2030 or after. And right now, on staff, we've had some interesting discussions. I think today, you may lean towards Michigan Road because that's the area that's being developed. However, there have been a lot of recent developments approved. Epcon Community on 400 South and 800 East, which is immediately adjacent to the 875 property. And there was just the most recent Plan Commission filing for a development off 875 and 300 South. That will be heard, I believe, at the next Plan Commission meeting. So again, it'll be interesting to see what happens over the next 3 or 4 years to see which one goes next. It'll be a recommendation that we would come to this board and body and ask that we would do, but that's probably at least 3 to 4 years away.
But thankfully, to foresight and to planning, we prepared this, we've got land, we're ready to go. We got to figure out,
Yep.
which puzzle piece goes first.
The easy answer from the fire chief is let's build them both.
Yeah.
But I think that I already know the answer from this board and maybe the council board is we don't have the funding, wouldn't have the funding that time to do both. So which one? Again, we'll see how the community continues to evolve over the next 3 to 4 years and which one would be ready after that.
Well, and also as we get more fire stations, we need more firefighters. So there's a very obvious elephant in the room. Okay.
Thank you for your time.
Any other matters?
No, I would just ask, I think it'd be really cool, next month, not to add too much to the agenda already from what you're planning on adding. But I think it would be great to have a quick update, just kind of a ballpark round numbers as to how many calls of service and the breakdown of all that, just for the next time, just so that we can go into, you know, next year prepared to talk about, okay, this is how much we got going on, and, you know, gotta keep, you know, chipping away at those employment numbers. So if we could just get just a very, very brief overview. And I know you do that in the monthly report, but maybe just spell it out just a little cleaner.
And for me, another matter would be some sort of consideration with discussions with the school, Zionsville School, on any sort of possibility of hands-on training, if you had any opportunities for their customized learning program, if we could start any kind of internship with mechanics, or there's a lot of flexibility coming within the new diploma requirements, and I think this is an opportunity that we as a town could start our own little feeder program, and maybe get some hands in the stations that are interning, but for education purposes, which would make it maybe cost neutral.
Agree 100% with all those, and I would just add on to that, and I don't want to add to that agenda, but I think toward the end of the year or early next year, we would have concept drawings available to share with the safety board of the land that we purchased out west was not only for a fire station, but a training center. So Chief Gibbons has had a whole committee working with the contractor to put together that concept. And I'll share with you that we have included the Zionsville schools so that not only are we trying to plan in that training center where we are going to do drivers training for fire trucks, but we've also organized and situated it so that the bus transportation center can utilize the same course to be able to come over there and do trainings. And working with Matt Doublestein has asked about, well, you know, can we give you guys another bus, and can we do some safety training with our bus drivers and our bus aides and stuff like that. So all great conversations are going on regarding, we call that the training center. Then also the land immediately adjacent to Fire Station 93 is a vision plan that we have for a safety village. And we'd like to be able to present those plans probably after the first of the year, about some private funding opportunities for us to try and recruit private funding to be able to do partnerships for public education, including special needs education and things of that nature that can allow some of those opportunities. But I think you were also hitting about, Madam President, about how can we utilize some individuals that may be graduating high school to be our next mechanic or next individual roles or be some interns, and we are all interested in every one of those topics.
Okay, good.
I would add in, I don't know the cost involved, but I think fire ops, if I was younger and healthier, like in better shape, I would have been interested in taking part in becoming a fireman. I mean, that is a fantastic opportunity to show people what it involves, because I think the average person probably doesn't consider the paramedic side, doesn't consider the rescue stuff that you guys do, and the flashover chamber alone would be cool enough to get a recruit or two here and there. But I don't know, like from an insurance standpoint, what would prevent us from having a public fire ops, you know, sign up, even maybe charge, but it's just such a cool way to see what you guys do.
Of course, I was thinking that as well, like a way to generate revenue.
Yeah, unfortunately, our Citizens Fire Academy, Councilor Stein is what you're speaking of, and I know President Sampson was a graduate of that. That does go on each year, and again, the response from the community has been overwhelming, and we've worked with our insurance so that we send them into live fire if they're willing, and they can pass certain tests. They climb the ladder truck, they do vehicle extrication. So we do that, and the interaction with the community has just been invaluable, and that kind of goes to the safety village concept of how do we make a permanent campus that can do several different things and look for some private funding opportunities. So again, it's very early on, and we would hope over the next 30 to 60 days to have some concept plans to be able to share with this board and talk in greater effort.
All right, great. Any other matters? All right, Dr. Papa had to step out, but if anyone would like to make a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
I hear a first and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? No one's here to vote that. Okay, so the next regular safety board meeting is scheduled for December 15th at 8 a.m. or immediately upon the conclusion of the town council meeting, which begins at 7:30. Our meeting is adjourned.